Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and what is most exciting about us as human beings is also relevant when you look at a nation as a whole. It is the growth, it is the excitement of doing in a way things which results into rise. When we are talking about economy of India, how global investors are perceiving India as their chosen destination to do business with. There was a global investors conference or convention in Uttar Pradesh, which was attended by many Ps like Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji was there, President of India was there, and also there is a P that went from USA. Well, I'm talking about innovative investor, and this gentleman is Dr. Prasun Mishra. Prasun ji,
Namaste.
welcome. Namaste.
Namaste, Ashokji. Thank you.
You,
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
I'm happy to have you because of many reasons. One of them is that you have retained the sense of Indian spirit, even though you have been in the corporate world for many years. And let's talk a little bit about what it means for you to be an entrepreneur or to be an investor.
Yeah, I think that's a very deep question, Ashokji. Actually, it's to be a society. I think a foundation of a society is innovation. That's what I believe. If the foundation of society is based on innovation, the society flourishes. Actually, so I think and innovative minds like you and I, and and many others who are listening, actually, their innovation is their if their driving force, actually. So then, being innovative, few things that you can do with one, you can be an entrepreneur, actually, and then create new solutions and products and bring it to the people, and that's how improve lives of people. Or you can you can take a back seat and then identify those brilliant minds and invest in them. So one is sort of leading an empire, and second is sort of taking a backstage and being a kingmaker and supporting these beautiful minds. So I think I enjoyed these two stands, actually. So hope that attempted to answer your question, Ashok.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And now I wanted to go to India with the same template of innovation as a fuel for growth. When you participate in an important conference like Global Investors Conference in Uttar Pradesh, what was sort of a little bit of your expectation in terms of what are you going to find there, and what did you actually ended up learning more about India's approach?
Yeah, I think yeah, this is a so for me, what I was looking for is the information or download that what are the opportunities available for entrepreneurs and investors in India, actually, especially in the field of public-private partnership, how we can partner with governments and help them in create more infrastructures, jobs, as well as new projects, actually. So that was my my kind of mandate to learn from this India. And the global entrepreneurs global investors summit sort of gave me that download, actually. And this was precisely designed to give investors that perspective. So I think I learned a lot, actually. And I'm very much I was very much humbled to learn that Indian government is also working along these lines to help investors, actually, to make investors life easier, actually, by giving them all the resources available. And then the phrase that was told to me, and I like so they're trying to change the from red tape to red carpet treatment to investors, actually, and which is what I precisely found in this summit.
Okay, so now let's try and understand what is the meaning of a red carpet welcome for investors. Indeed, the common sense tells you that they are addressing the concerns proactively which any investor may have. So let us look at the major concern that you think anyone who is looking at his investment, and as a layman, I would say that you want to be safe, secured, and you want to have a fair mm, level field. You don't want corruption, etc., etc., and you don't want to have rules that would stifle your growth and functioning. So, was there something new that was shared by government on these sort of general concerns?
Yeah, I think on they shared on all these concerns. Actually, they have taken very smart initiatives actually. So starting with number one, their law and order, they have taken they have gone to a strong to further to create zero tolerance policy. And when I was happy to see that the law and order is coming under control actually, so which is where a stability of region and a nation is very important for investors actually to be able to invest. We're also party agnostic, we're also government agnostic. So I think so invest in asset when one government is there and other government is there. So the policy should be carried on actually. And I think the governments have taken this initiative as well. Also, they are now creating, several portals, online portals. One is Nivesh, Mitra, actually, which is, investors' friend. It's a portal where 33 departments as well as 406 services that will be available online for investors, actually, in a single window portal. And the second portal that they're launching is called, it's a investor relations management. It's called Nivesh Sarathi. Nivesh, which will guide investors. So if investors have a question, you can just go and just put it in this portal and you will get a answer. And then they have also are working on several incentives. So starting from getting ways you can get a free land, as well as a loan forgiveness on the up to suppose 50 to 60% on the interest of the loan for forgiveness program in certain. So just these are a few examples, but then they have also creating an online incentive management system. And lastly, they're also assigning. So if you're an investor going into India, and they're assigning a buddy system. So a friend investor or a friend, regional businessman that will be assigned to you to help you guide through the process. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
that's a
And
that's a new idea. I think that is really innovative approach. It makes you kind of get to a comfort zone because there is somebody. It's like you go to a city where your friend resides, then at least he can take you around, etc. And so this buddy system, he will help the global investor or entrepreneur to navigate through the system,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah. That's what it is designed actually. And as me going to the investor summit, I was also assigned a buddy actually, and who was taking care of my starting from my where I'm staying to where I'm going to my pickups and all that. So my whole itinerary was handled by a buddy actually. That was in this case was a government official actually, but I had several other buddies that were working. So that's other other things. But I think for the investor who is new to it, they will get a buddy assigned to them. And most importantly, you ask what I like to, I think ease of doing business actually, which historically have been, I have to admit that a bit difficult in India actually. So now the government and state government and central government has realized this issue. And they are working diligently on making the ease of doing business India kind of more easier actually. And so I think that is a big advancement, as well as technological advancement, as well as willingness to do things actually for the investors actually. That is something really was really impressive actually for me.
so.
So
I would like to mention for our viewers that Dr. Prasun Mishra is invested on several fronts as far as his focus is concerned. And here, as we see, you are a venture capitalist, you are focusing on sustainability, and of course, there is healthcare, precision medicine, digital health, etc. So, there is such a big basket that you have in your mind. So, was there something specifically resonating from the point of view of sustainability and clean energy in this particular convention?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. So what happened is that, I started, I'm a healthcare guy. That's what, I'm a healthcare entrepreneur actually. But, the goal of my life is to save as many lives as possible before I surrender mine. Actually, that has been my life's goal. And then when I started that, and, working in the hospitals, healthcare systems, cancer centers, I realized that, too many sick people are being presented in these hospitals, and too less medicines and, interventions that are available to them. So instead of being in the reactive mode, how can we do to, so that our next coming generations do not get to that stage, right? It'll take a long time, for us to fix that, but I think we should sow the seeds of those. So I think based on that, we have thought through, and, we were fortunate that United Nations had also, put some of the best brains around the world to focus on the same issues. So they came up with the sustainability development goals, how, we should, all the governments from throughout the world should work on that to, lay the foundations of a, healthier society. So I think we are not focused on all the sustainability development goals. We are, of course, number one is SDG 3, which is health and wellness for all. That's our focus. Second is energy and environment, because, environment that you live in actually is, affects your health. Actually, now we have precision public health, precision, which is one of the hot topics now in precision medicine. So energy and environment, these are the two, second focus. Third focus that we have is education. Actually, you educate a person, and then, you basically educate a family, and you educate the whole society. So then education saves lives actually. And last is food and agriculture. Food. So the food that we eat makes us healthy. So I think so these are four focuses, four areas that we focus on.
So, as a innovative entrepreneur or investor, or anyone who is willing to see things happen, and they don't just remain in the form of ideas. So some of the areas that you just mentioned are more like awareness generating space. For example, education, or people learning about use of clean energy, etc., which is good and no question. But while you connect it with the spirit of entrepreneur, then you need to see where the money is going, going to come from. So from that point of view, so these could be good ideas, good government policies. So talk to me, where is that synergy, especially in India's context?
Yeah, I think so. We are investing in basically our focus is investing in companies actually who are doing innovation in these in this field. So uh, uh, in these sectors actually. So that we have, and in India there's the government also has this mandate of, say, basically they're working on increasing the startups as well as small and medium sized businesses actually within the country actually. And that's one of our focuses. And we hope to identify some of the innovative startups in these four different sectors and invest actually. And hope to, and we overall believe that if we invest in these four different sectors, we will make a ripple effect on the whole society. And when you talk about these are, so this is that was just an example why we chose these sectors actually. But our focus is startups and businesses that are already successful. They already have some traction. They already are some revenue positive actually. So they're already making impact on the society. We become their basically growth engine. We just invest in them we bring in a scale up capital actually.
So this growth engine reminds me of the slogan of UP for this UP Global Investment Summit, which was New India's growth engine, New India's new growth region. Now, I want our viewers to learn a little bit more about you in terms of the kind of strength which you carry with you, and you are not just acting as an individual, you are working in collaboration with many investors through certain forums. And so if I put in simple words, and you may of course correct me if I say it differently, like there are mutual funds, so people invest and somebody takes care of it. What you are doing is you are not just encouraging or inspiring them to come up, to pour in their funds, and that collectively is directed towards certain areas which are also related to taking care of people, like we mentioned about sustainability or energy or health, education, etc. So I think you are playing an interesting, innovative role, role. So from that point of view, while you are absorbing the interaction at the Global Investor Summit, so you are sort of also formulating how to process this information and decide, as well as suggest, guide, encourage your fellow investors to sort of look at this area with more attention. With this backdrop, what did you find were the special sectors that one UP government was promoting on their own, two you felt that this has the right fit?
Yeah, I think it's a, healthcare is there, one of the biggest focuses actually. The maybe the top focus where they are creating health manufacturing hubs, actually pharmaceutical manufacturing hubs in India, as well as biotech, scaling, helping companies to scale biotech operations, which is very well in line with what we are doing. They have been, there is a push on a education, social infrastructure, green growth, actually, and overall, not just UP but in India, I think 35,000 crore this year has been, from this year's budget, has been allocated to energy transition, actually. And then green hydrogen, actually there's a big push on green hydrogen, which is also our focus on our energy side, actually. So I think these were some of the unique proposition, as well as the government is making big commitments towards infrastructure, actually. So they would like to build infrastructure throughout the country. So they have a big commitments on infrastructure side, and besides the government commitments, I got a chance to talk to fellow investors and a lot of innovative startups, actually, in India. What is attractive about India has created some of the most successful unicorns, and has a potential of creating those unicorns, which is very much interesting to the investors and our collective. So I think that's the and I was fortunate to hear some of the pitches, actually. And I think even walking on the ghats of Ganges, I had an entrepreneur pitching me his idea and his startup, and I was like, okay, the India has changed. This is a new India, actually, and this is a new Uttar Pradesh, actually. So
So
yeah,
the way
things
you,
have a lot
yeah,
changed, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
the way you said it, I'm kind of tempted to ask you. Let's go us away from the conversation about investment and all. But if you are near Ganga and somebody is pitching you, that might not be a very good experience. So how did you manage it? Kept your balance?
Yeah, I think I kept my balance, and this is I always, my thing is what the cosmos is telling me, actually. And this time the cosmos is telling me the needs of the the society, actually. And then how a community of entrepreneurs have decided to take action on it. So I think for me, it's not just paying the pilgrimage, but also using my intellect as well as resources to solve those issues, actually. So that's how I take it. So
So,
it's a time invested well, actually, Ashok.
right. So I'll come back to Varanasi with you, but let me mention that an investment of rupees 3.292 million, which is 32.92 lakh crores in Indian rupees, those that is the amount for which the MOUs were signed in Uttar Pradesh. And this amount, interestingly, which will come again for our viewers to see, look at that, 3.292 million rupees. So this is double the amount that while they were organizing it, they had anticipated. So there is something very exciting happening in Uttar Pradesh and India. So I mean, this has superseded their anticipated MOUs, and how it uh, works out, we will have to see. But let me seek your first-hand experience of being in the same space with the president, prime minister, and all the top entrepreneurs of India, including Mukesh Ambani. And so, some of the speakers that you heard there, anything that sort of stayed with you, and you had your inner silent aha moment.
Yeah, I think Mukesh Ambani, you mentioned, he kind of presented his plans for investment in Uttar Pradesh, and he also mentioned how Uttar Pradesh is on a way to become a Uttam Pradesh, which is the best state actually, from north state to best state actually. So I think these are some of the. So UP itself is population wise is one of the biggest states in India. Population wise is the top, it's the number one in population, and has its population actually tops some of the countries in Europe actually, and even tops the Russia's total population. So it's a so potential wise, human potential wise, it's an amazing state. And that's what everybody that were there, like you mentioned, Anand Mahindra was there, he's and Kumar Mangalam Birla was there from the Birla group. K Chandrasekharan, who leads Tata Group, was there, and and several ministers there, and many countries were there, such as UAE. They sent a big delegation actually that attended. Japan, Australia, for just a few examples actually. So a lot of insights, Ashokji, and I think it just was basically an mind opening for learning from the big players who have been doing business there as well, and then what their plans are, and that gives comfort to the global players to kind of
Okay.
working with our buddies to make things happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me bring to our conversation one name, which is a global player, which is not sitting well with India, or India is not sitting well with him under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I'm talking about George Soros, and he said he's going to put aside $1 billion so that, in my words, I would say he wants to topple the government of Prime Minister Modi, and he considers that this is not functioning in a democratic fashion. So now, this is, I would say, and based on my observation, these are very few fringe element kind of entrepreneurs or rich guys. And before I hand it over to you, I'll also quote adjectives used by Indian foreign minister in response to somebody's question at a forum. And S. Jaishankar ji said that he's not just rich and old and opinionated, he is also dangerous. Now, how do you see India? Uh, is there any special need to prepare to counter the potential danger posed by such individual entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think these are individual conversations with the Indian government. So I'll basically refrain my, comments on that one. Uh, but I think it's a Indian government's, stand with George actually on this one.
So I appreciate your stand. You have chosen a very cautious approach. You don't you don't want to say anything which may hurt anybody, but in this case, this looks like a clear, blatant sort of infringement or intrusion in democratically elected functioning of a government, and sitting away from India, mentioning that this is not democracy, and this is one individual talking. So I find this very sort of interesting paradox there. Maybe you what you think is democracy. So anyway, moving towards Varanasi with you. Now there is another side to Varanasi. One you must have seen recently, the renovated or the new look. of the Kashi Vishwanath temple, and also now you have a corridor that takes you right from the temple to the bank of Ganga. So, how was your experience, and compare it with if you have been there earlier?
Yeah, I think it's a very good ease of access is very good now. Actually, they have built the whole corridor where you can walk directly to Ganges. So this was a much needed initiative that was that should have been done long time back. But now I'm finally happy that this is being done, and this is basically is helping every day thousands and thousands of visitors. So and I'm one of them. Actually, I was one of them. So I think I benefited from whatever is done, and I thank the folks who orchestrated this.
I'll share a quote from your LinkedIn, which is, as you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself, the other for helping others. Now, this thought brings to our mind the corporate responsibility as we have started referring to it now. Uh, do you really think business or entrepreneurs are more concerned about helping others rather than making profits? How do you see the general feel as you interacted with so many of them in this conference?
Yeah, I think so. There are two kinds of entrepreneurs, right? Actually, one is purely profit driven, right? Actually, which is perfectly fine, and we which is perfectly fine. But then there is a there are entrepreneurs who are making impact. So there's a these are on a they're innovating on an area which not only creates profit but creates impact. And then my personal feeling is that I classify myself as a social entrepreneur and a social investor. So what I believe that if you solve a problem that has been affecting millions, I think, or say billions in the world, and actually you were successfully solve that problem, and then everybody pays you $1, your profit takes care of itself, actually. So I think
Yeah.
that's
So,
the power of social entrepreneurs, actually.
yeah.
Ashokji, go
So
ahead.
last question and very brief response to how you see India working towards digital health.
Yeah, I think India has, has in last 5 to 10 years has taken a great stand in the digital health. Now the digital health adoption is over the roof, actually, in Indian ecosystem. And overall now, in India, one of the issues was that the access to healthcare was in the rural areas was not available. And then with advent of digital health, now everybody has a phone in their hands. And I was able to meet with a few companies in India. They're also doing innovation where they're creating some of the centers in the rural areas where through digital health, a rural patient will have access. So I think the adoption is amazing. Actually, there are several big players in this that are as well as so many smaller startups that are doing
So,
innovation at
yeah.
a regional level as well.
Yeah, Prasun, I appreciate you sharing your first-hand experience of being a part of this global investors conference organized by Uttar Pradesh government, and I congratulate you for being in the presence of all these entrepreneurs and leaders who bring a lot of positive energy with them. And as I was speaking to you, I felt as if there is an invitation, encouraging invitation to leave your comfort zone, participate in nation building, in building the world a better place. So thank you very much with lots of good wishes, my guest, Dr. Prasun Mishra, and all of you. Thank you very much with lots of good wishes.
Thank you,
So
Ashok. Yeah.